Good day everyone. I'm Dr. Nurhafizah from Nilai University. Today I will present my research ideas on the topic of exploring the decision-making factors of Malaysian Gen Z students from urban and rural area in selecting private higher education institutions, after this known as PHEI, and this study will use a mixed method approach. Throughout my presentation, these are the topics that we are going to cover: research background, literature review, gaps on previous studies, also a proposal of research framework, research objective and research question, and followed by methodology as well as expected outcomes from the study. Recently, numerous research conducted on the topic of decision-making process of students in selecting PHEI. With the increasing popularity of PHEI in Malaysia, understanding the factors that influence students' decision is crucial for institutions to attract and retain the students. According to Ministry of Higher Education, as 2023, there are 434 PHEI in Malaysia, including college, university college, and university. This figure creates hyper competition among PHEI in getting number of students. Furthermore, the current situation of higher education in Malaysia facing a challenge whereby 72.1% SPM leavers prefer to join the workforce. As you can see in this figure, the number of student enrollment to higher education in 2018 is 1.34 million, but the number slightly decreased in 2020 due to the pandemic of COVID-19. The pandemic has influenced Gen Z to not pursue higher education because they believe work experience is valuable than education. On top of that, in 2020, gig work is booming in Malaysia. With the Gen Z attitudes that is much attracted to finance and technology, so they lost interest to pursue study because they think gig work provides alternative career paths to them. Other than that, there are few reasons why SPM leavers reject education. According to the survey conducted by Ministry of Higher Education, about 31% of students lost interest to pursue study because no job prospect after they graduate, and followed by high tuition fees. This study focused on Gen Z. Gen Z is defined as those that born in 1997 to 2012. But the scope of our study will focus on students from age 17 to 19 years. This generation is very native in using technology because they are born in the peak of technological innovation and social media. Therefore, various aspects of their life, including choosing the higher education, might influenced by the technology and social media. Therefore, it is very crucial to explore what are the factors to attract Gen Z to pursue higher education, specifically in private institutions. This research will use theory of planned behavior, or known as TPB. TPB is widely used to understand human behavior, especially in the context of decision making. The theory suggests that behavioral intentions are influenced by the three factors, which are attitude, subjective norms, and perceived behavioral control, which shape individual intention to engage in certain behavior. In the context of this study, attitudes refer to the reputation of university and educational offerings. Meanwhile, subjective norms refer to social pressure or influence by family members. And perceived behavioral control reflect to the individual belief about their ability to perform a behavior. For instance, student that has financial constraints might not opt to pursue study at higher level. Past studies address few factors related to decision making in selecting higher institutions, such as financial consideration, employment opportunities, university reputation, and campus environments and students' life. In addition, due to the advanced technology, few studies address the influence of online and flexible learning and social media digital influence in selecting higher education. Even though numerous studies already address the factors that influence decision making in selecting higher institution, but there are substantial gaps that need to be addressed in future research, such as limited exploration of social media and digital influence in Malaysian context. Numerous studies focus on traditional factors such as institution reputation, cost, and location, which creating a loop in addressing the factors comprehensively. There are limited qualitative studies in this area. Additionally, there is limited research focusing on Gen Z in selecting higher institutions in Malaysia context. Based on the gaps from the previous research, we come up with the proposed research framework. There are few independent variables that relate or influence the dependent variable in this study. The independent variables are financial consideration, online and flexible learning, employment opportunities, university reputation, campus environment and students' life, as well as social media and digital influence. It is expected that all these independent variables will influence the decision-making process and thus impact the behavior of the students, especially Gen Z, in selecting private higher education institution. Based on the framework that we propose, these are the hypotheses that we develop. We have 6 hypotheses to be addressed in this study. This research embarked on the following research objective. First, to propose a model on decision-making factors of Malaysian Gen Z in selecting private higher education institution. Second objective, to explore in depth the decision-making factors of Malaysian Gen Z students from urban and rural area in selecting private higher education institutions. And the last objective will be to recommend outreach strategies in targeting the Gen Z students from urban and rural area in pursuing study in private higher education institution. And these are the research questions for this study. First, how do financial considerations, online and flexible learning, employment opportunities, university reputation, campus environment and students' life, and social media and digital influence contribute to the decision-making process of Gen Z in urban and rural area in selecting private higher education institution? The second research question will be, how do these factors differ among Gen Z students in urban and rural area? That means we are going to do a comparison. And third research questions, what are the key factors that differentiate private higher education institution in Malaysia for Gen Z students of urban and rural area? And the last research question is, how do these factors impact the decision making in selecting private higher education institution? This study will use mixed method approach. The first method is quantitative method and second is qualitative method. In the quantitative method, the self-administered questionnaire will be distributed to the respondents and the respondents will be 382 Gen Z students with the age from 17 to 19 years old. The questionnaire will be distributed through Google survey. The data will be collected and will be analyzed by using SPSS and Smart PLS. For the qualitative method, in-depth interview will be conducted among 15 Gen Z students, and these 15 Gen Z students are the students or respondents from the subset of the quantitative phase. To conduct the in-depth interview, Google Meet, WhatsApp video calls will be used, and the data will be analyzed by using NVivo software. The population for this study is final year high school students from urban and rural area in selected states such as from Selangor, Negeri Sembilan, Melaka and Johor. And according to the table below, these are the classification of urban and rural area for each state. In order to select the sample size for this study, the researcher used the estimated candidates registered for SPM in 2024, which is around 29,044. And based on that figure, the researcher estimate that 382 students need to be a respondents for this study. That is for quantitative method. Meanwhile, for the qualitative method, around 15 students from urban and rural area will be interviewed. For the quantitative method, stratified sampling will be used to ensure equal representation of Gen Z students from both urban area and rural area, and the calculation will be like this. Therefore, around 191 respondents from the urban area and 191 students from the rural area. And this table shows the estimate number of questionnaire that going to be distributed in the urban and rural area. For the research instruments, in the quantitative approach, self-administered questionnaire will be distributed to the respondents by using Google Form. And that questionnaire consists of 5-point Likert scale, range from strongly disagree 1 to strongly agree 5. The questionnaire are adapted from various sources with high reliability, and the questionnaire can be broken down into 3 main sections. Section A, demographic background. Section B, factors that influence decision making in selecting private higher education institution. Meanwhile, for section C is tapped into the decision in selecting private higher education institutions. For the qualitative approach, the validated questions from the expert panels will be used. These are the expected outcome from this study. First, a new model will be developed to understand further on the factors that influence Gen Z in decision-making process when they are selecting the private higher education institutions. Second, the finding from qualitative approach will be contribute to a comprehensive understanding on the decision-making factors of Malaysian Gen Z students in selecting private higher education institutions. And last but not least, in response to the findings of this study, private higher education institution may rethink the outreach strategies on how they can connect with the Gen Z students in order to attract and retain them. That's all for my presentation. I welcome every constructive feedbacks to improve these research ideas. Thank you.